Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing something that I guess you could classify as a modification, but it's actually going to be removing something. Now I don't think I've really expressed this with you guys, but I want a shorter tray. The tray's a little bit too long for what I want, and I find that I don't really need it, to be honest, and it'll be a bit better if it was a bit shorter just for forward driving purposes and things like that. So what we're going to be doing today is, originally I was going to be cutting back the tray about 300mm and then refitting everything, reassembling it all, and I'm going from there. But I decided I might just quickly whack a post up on Facebook and see if anyone wanted to do a swap. And actually a guy named Jake, absolute legend, has offered to swap me for his 1800 long by 1800 wide tray with a 1200 box canopy on it, which is exactly what I was going to be doing in the first place. So he's happy to swap for my trundle drawer and tray for his tray and canopy. So pretty much what I'm going to be doing right now is getting rid of this tray off the back, whacking it on the trailer, and then once he's ready to take his off and everything, I'm going to take it down there, we'll do the swap, and then we will be reinstalling the new tray. So basically I just got to clear everything out of the drawer and start unbolting things from the chassis. We're going to be keeping our own cables and brake lights and things, if you understand what I mean. So I've just got to take all the brake light components, all the electronics off the tray, and then just sit them on the chassis or whatever, so that I can reinstall that to the new tray. We're going to get into this quickly because the sun's starting to go down. It's about 5 o'clock, and let's see how we go. Some help has arrived. That's a car you guys will be seeing more frequently on the channel. But first of all, let's clear out the drawer. We don't need all this stuff in there right now. Okay, so now that the rear drawer is now empty, I've taken off the rear bar just to lose some weight off the back. I don't think it's going to be too heavy anyway, but you know, just take it off if we can. Now I'm going to start looking at the electric. So to be honest, there's not actually that much. I thought I would have to do a lot more. All we've really got is this one cable here for this brake light, and then there's basically a mirror image on the other side. So it's just a cable tie and a single bolt to take off the rear light. I'm a bit worried about how the other one's going to fit in terms of, I guess, the rails and things, because it's off a Hilux, and I'm looking at the rails now and it looks like I've had some sort of adaptation rail to make them fit. So I might have to steal them off this car, and he might have to keep his old brackets that basically bolted to the car. So we won't really know that until we take his off and have a look at it all anyway. But we're just going to take the whole thing down to his place with us and see what fits and what doesn't fit, and basically that's it. So it's going to be pretty simple. There's only 6 bolts holding the tray on anyway. That takes all the guards with it and things like that, so it should be pretty sweet. Alright, the tail lights are now dropped, so that was a super easy way to drop. Again, it was just a bolt straight on top. I'm taking this whole plate with us because I don't think his had it, so that should bolt up the whole way. But I'm leaving this little bit here. I guess I can take that off down at his if I need that or something, but I don't think I do. I think he had a little return bit on his new tray, so that should bolt straight up hopefully. Now all we've got to do is, I've gone around and put some WD-40 on them all to loosen them all up. We've got these bolts here, there's 6 of them all around the tray that hold the tray to the chassis. So I'm going to take them off, leave all this brackets and stuff on there, which I may need to remove later, but again, this should be pretty simple. And we're going to lift it straight off and onto a trailer over there, so then we can tow it straight down to him really easily and do the swap. I'm quietly confident that it's not going to be that heavy, but I think the heaviest part is going to be that drawer that's bolted to it. But I'm not worrying about taking it off. If old mate doesn't want it, then he can take it off, but I'm pretty sure he wanted me to leave that on there. Hopefully we can do it, otherwise we're going to have to call in some reinforcements, but I'm quietly confident we can lift this thing off. So let's give it a go. Okay, ready?
What you think? I reckon maybe move the trailer over.
Move it over here?
Yeah.
Alright. Change of plans.
Okay.
So that should fit. problem we're going to have is
Those-
side steps.
They're not gonna fit in. Not unless you just flip it upside down.
So, bear with us. Okay, so quiet confidence doesn't help me out. We've tried lifting this thing, but you've got to get it up over the filler neck, and there's a few cables. So to get it done in one job, we're going to need a few more muscles. So got the dad coming down and a mate also coming over. We're going to try this one more time. We're going to lift it straight up and over onto the trailer in one foul swoop, and fingers crossed we get it this time. But these things are heavier than they look. I thought they were going to be light as, but they're definitely not. So let's try this again.
How are you and this bloke going to get it up?
Exactly. Alright guys, so 6 days have passed or so. We done the tray swap the other day. He's pretty happy with everything and I'm pretty happy with the swap, I guess. The canopy is just sitting over the back there, which I'll show you in a sec. But this is the new tray. So the one we originally had on was a Bocar tray. This is a tip-top tray, so they're both aftermarket trays. So we've been playing around with it this weekend. I didn't really film it all because of the fact that it was just bucketing down rain. I didn't want the camera out in the rain the whole time. We had a makeshift bloody carport rigged up with the tarp and everything, but I still didn't want the camera out. So far we're up to the stage where we've got the brackets on the tray and they're ready to be bolted down, but we have to do a little bit of spacing from the chassis. So because they're the brackets from his setup, his must have been all different heights and stuff, so it doesn't really suit ours, but I've reused the brackets, made them work, just spun them around and done a few different things and re-bolted them and stuff like that to make them fit. But I'm going to have to get a couple of like spacers or something like that from Bunnings or wherever, and then the tray will be sweet. So it's just sitting there at the moment, and I've still got to put all the electrics as in the tail lights and things back on, and I might actually do a number plate relocation because where the bracket is sitting you can kind of see that it sticks out from the tray. I don't really want to do on that, so I might put it up on that panel just up there, move that whole thing up so the lights and everything is still on it and it still works. And then we've got to put the lights in here, so this sort of protects them a bit. They would just go straight up there. But this is about it. So it's a bit dirty obviously because he had the canopy on there and I've got to clean it, but other than that it's actually pretty good. It's in good nick. It's pretty much exactly the same as the tray I already had. It just looks slightly different and it's got slightly different locks and stuff like that. Underneath is where we've been doing all our magic. So as you can see, that bracket is touching. So that one I think he had up the front of his, so his bracket must have been just out on the chassis. Whereas this one you can see we've got a gap in there. So what we're going to do is just pack that out and then run a big bolt through it. And same for the front ones, I believe. So they're just some old rubbers I had laying around and we just packed it up because we have to make it over the fuel line. So I think it's about a 75 or 80 mil clearance between the top of these brackets and the fuel line. So we have to pack that up 20 and then there's obviously already 55 or 60 or something already there. I can't remember the exact measurements. But that's pretty good. This one bolted straight up pretty much because of the fact that his spacing from the cab and the bracket was the same, so we've pretty much got the same spacing. It's not too bad. And then you can see here that's where one of them used to be. Obviously I had to move it to there, and then I've got another one going there. So I'll probably play around with it tomorrow and get it all bolted down. I'll go get some spacers and things tomorrow after work. We'll bolt it all down. I'll try and get all the electrics set up onto it, screw them all in and stuff like that. I don't want to go all out and do complete fixing, like bolting it all down and doing my finished product, because I'm actually going to be painting it. So all I wanted to do was make sure the brackets were all sweet and get it on there, and then I'll send it off to paint. And we will actually be doing that ourselves. So my uncle's a spray painter, so I'm going to be going to his shop and borrowing his booth and stuff like that. All the spray guns, everything you really need. And we're going to be painting the tray black as well as the canopy. So this is my pile of bits for it. We got the sides there, which will go back on. And then this is the toolbox canopy thing, we have the rear bar, that'll go black as well. And our canopy, what we're going to be using is a 1200 by 1800 wide. So it's exactly what I was going to be buying anyway. So I'm pretty lucky we got a swap. The canopy was originally mounted with just a quick release, so it's just a latch that goes over a hook on the tray. I think I'm actually going to get rid of that just because I'm going to be bolting it down permanently, and it means I can slide the canopy back towards the headboard a little bit more. So that's ultimately what I think I'll probably do. These latches Obviously they're all keyed the same, so that's good, but they are a bit dicky and a bit loose and stuff, so we're going to be playing around with that. Then this is inside the canopy, so it's just a complete open one. He left all the old wiring and switchboard and stuff here just for me, I guess, but I might reuse like the fuse block and the switches and stuff, but I'm going to rip this all out, strip it back to bare, and now do my own setup. So sort of the idea is to have a camping / work setup. So my idea is to have a pull-out fridge, drop-down fridge sort of thing with a slide, and then have a drawer this side and a drawer that side, and then maybe a drawer over that side as well behind the fridge. It just depends on how I want it set up, because that'll be the work side and this will be the camping. I'll have a nice 12-volt setup done, and then we'll run lights and everything all in it, you know, just the basic four-wheel driving canopy stuff pretty much. But this will also be going off to paint and be doing it in the same black, so it'll all match, but the whole canopy will be bolted down nicely. And then before I send it off to paint, not sure if we can see that, so not sure if you can completely see that, zoom in. So see those little cracks there in the welding? I'm zooming out, there we go. You can see those cracks there. There's a few of those sort of cracks around just in the corners in the exact same spot, so down here, but I'm not sure of all four corners. I haven't had a complete good look at it, but there are a few. So we're going to be going back to Pat. He can weld aluminium and stuff, so we'll go back to him and get him just to weld them up and make them all pretty again before it goes off to paint, because I don't really want this thing you know, flexing and torsioning and stuff and cracking welds and then leaking water and all those sorts of things. That won't be very good. We also have a light on the back here which he left. That's just an old LED light off the back. But yeah, this is my setup. This is what we're going to be doing. We're bolting it all down tomorrow or so, but other than that, I'm pretty stoked with it. I think it looks pretty cool. I like that shorter look. One thing I'm worried about at the moment is if you remember with the last tray, the wheel, as they flexed up, it sort of just missed this bar. I'm a bit worried about this because the whole tray actually sits lower. The old tray sat up a lot higher because they had that drawer, so they had extended like angled brackets like what we've just put in, and they had also spaces in between that, so it jacked the tray up really high so that drawer could fit underneath. So we could have an issue with those bars, but if I do, then I might just remove them, or maybe I can cut them and move the brackets and stuff like that, but we'll figure out a way to make that work. Pretty much I'll actually do that before we send it off to paint, because I don't really want to have to do it after we paint it and then get it painted again. So that'll be okay. I'll have a look at that tomorrow. Once we bolt it down, I'll test it on a dirt mound again and see how she flexes. So other than that, we've had a pretty productive weekend. So far so good with the tray. Everything seems to be good. These are those little quick release latches. It's just basically a hook. It's a very snug fit, so I'm surprised it actually fits in there sometimes. But anyway, this is where we're up to with the tray. I think it looks sick. It'll look good once it's all painted black and fits all nice.
Tomorrow for sure.
Okay guys, so next update, we have put the tray on. It is completely bolted down now, so we've spaced it all out nicely and we've put the rubbers in and stuff. It is all back together. We've got all the lights and everything bolted on. I've temporarily rigged up all the cable, like all the cabling and stuff. It's just all cable tied up for now until we're finished with painting it and things. And the lights for the number plate is also temporarily cable tied up. So I ended up yesterday testing out the rear flex for the tray and see how the wheels will go with it. At the moment I'm just running the rear mud flaps and wheel arch bits because I think I'm going to actually get some new ones. I want to get the nice, you know, folded up sheet metal or checker plate ones. The ones that are full set and they pretty much screw up underneath, they look pretty cool, and I will be able to compensate for the wider wheels, so I'll be able to hang it out a little bit and make it look a bit prettier. We tried flexing it yesterday on the mount and sadly I just skimmed the bar, so until I get those wheel arches I'll still be able to drive on it. It should be okay, but I will definitely have to be getting them soonish. I was going to cut the bar and everything, so I actually started by drilling this bracket out and sliding it along, but I'm not exactly sure of the exact location that I want to go, so I figured once I get the proper wheel arches, then I'll cut it to that specific size for both sides and everything. And I'm sorry if it's a little bit dark at the moment, I'm dealing with the sun right in my eyes. So other than that, the tray swap has actually gone pretty successful. It's all on, it fits pretty well. I'm really liking the look of it, and I like, I guess, the distance that it finishes up to that rear toe ball and bar. I don't have to worry about the trailer trying to punch up under the drawer anymore. So we relocated the number plate just up here. I got rid of that bracket because it wasn't going to fit, and then like I said, I've temporarily jimmy rigged them up. They're just cable tied in and tucked up a little bit, and cable tied all the cables up and stuff like that. The tail lights is basically just a single bolt in the center of both of them, and then just to hold it on, I've just put a cable tie around here just to make sure it's not going to go anywhere and not going to shake, because I haven't completely tightened them up properly yet. Under here we've got, so you can see they've got 2 block spaces there, and then it's also got a rubber that's being compressed down into it. That's to get our height, and I also wanted to stop a bit of vibrations. I've used high tensile bolts and everything with that because, well, that's a good idea to do that. For the other one, so this one here, I didn't have to space it at all, so it's just got a rubber that's compressed. And then for the other front one, we've also got the spacers and the rubber. Yeah, it's all sitting pretty level, and I'm pretty happy with the height of it. I think it looks pretty good on the car. The old tray used to sit super high, so I think it looks a lot better sitting lower. Another thing we had to do was actually sort of relocate the fuel nozzle. So before, it sort of used to stick out here, and it had enough room that I could get the nozzle in and stuff past the old bar, but for this one it was a bit hard to do that. So there was this bracket you can see here, and obviously you can tell that's chopped. That used to be bolted onto this point here. It was a lot longer, but we actually figured out that you could just spin this. So we spinned it around, put a bolt in there and cut it and screwed it up so that I'll be able to access the fuel just through the side here with the nozzle. So that's pretty much all the tray done, I'm pretty sure. I think it turned out great. I think it looks pretty mean too. I like the look of it. It looks a lot better than the old Bocar one I had. So the tip-top tray looks pretty nice. And once we get that toolbox up, it'll look good. Oh, another thing with the toolbox, I took those quick release latches off like I said I was going to. So I'm not going to worry about holes really, they don't bother me. And then this one here where the cables used to come up will actually get covered with the toolbox anyway. So the toolbox finished, where did it finish, like here or something? But I'll actually be able to push it back an extra 20-30 mil. It's not much, but I guess I'll get everything I can because it's just wasted space behind here. So now that the tray is completely bolted down and basically finished, I'm going to focus on the canopy, the Savo. So I'm thinking either tomorrow or Friday, I might actually be going to Pat to get those bits welded up that I told you guys about. So I want to try and strip it completely today, rip everything out I don't want, and get it sort of loaded up so that if I do decide to go tomorrow, it's just drive off and go do it. So basically all we're going to be doing to it is taking off all the quick release latches because I don't want them, and I'll get him to weld the holes up, or I don't know, silicone or do some sort of alloy putty or something, because the whole thing's getting painted anyway, so you're not going to know. And then on the inside, basically the whole thing is just going to be gutted. I just want to take it right back to the metal. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Pretty much I want to get stuck in as soon as I can because the sun's not too high. We'll see how we go. Okay, so we have completely stripped out the canopy now. It is all gone, nothing is left in there. I've given it a quick vac and swept out and stuff like that. Got it nice and clean, ready to be welded. Cable tied up, that cable up there, that's that rear light. So I'll probably end up hooking that in to my 12-volt setup once I do that. But for now, we're just going to leave the cable tied up. And I am really keen to get this thing on the back of the car because I really need some storage in the back. So I wanted to give you a quick update on this before I put it on the trailer and before the sun goes down. So we're going to load this up onto the trailer so that tomorrow, if I go there tomorrow, I can just quickly pick up the trailer and run straight down to Pat and get him to weld it all up, so we can get into paint and get all that stuff going as quick as possible. But so far the progress has been pretty good, been pretty productive, and it's all stripped, so let's see what we're going to do. So like I was saying, we have a couple of cracks down there which you can see, and also these holes. I'm going to try and get him to weld them up just to block them off. Now there's 3 holes in all the corners from those quick release things, so let's hope he can weld them up for me so I don't have to silicone them or whatever. I found like a little bit of a crack down here. I took off the rubber matting seam stuff that goes around the edge. Most of the corners are okay, but I have noticed that little crack just there, you can sort of see it. And then on the inside, if you can see all this stuff everywhere, well, it's basically liquid nails or silicone or just all sorts of like glues and adhesive stuff. and it's really a pain in the ass to get off. I could get it off, but it just takes forever. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave it for now, and when I end up sheeting it and doing all my stuff in here, then if I'm going to be seeing that part of the metal, then I'll get rid of it. Otherwise we'll just cover it up with something. So for instance, over there, that'll probably be where my, which way am I going? Over here, this will probably be where my 12 volt setup will be. So we'll just cover all that silicone and stuff up, and that doesn't really bother me. But I'm pretty stoked with how it's turned out. It's going to be good once it's done. So hopefully I can get to see Pat tomorrow and he can get this welded up, because I'd love to try and fit it this weekend. It's coming up to a long weekend, so we might end up going out full driving or something, and I'd really like the Canopy on there just to chuck stuff in and test it out. So hopefully we can get this done and bolted up, so we'll see how we go. Got all the hardware ready to go, and I've just got to drill the holes once it's on the tray. So it's all relying on Pat, I guess, at the moment, so hopefully we will get this done.
Day 2.
Alright guys, welcome back to another day. We've got the box all welded up now. Went and saw Pat yesterday from Kustom Fab. You guys all know him, he done my body chop mounts. But we went and saw him, he done a bit of alloy welding for me and got rid of some of those hairline cracks that were in the previous welds. So we're ready to start putting the box on. I'm actually about to start bolting it down and stuff. I've got all my measurements, it's sitting where I want it now, and what I actually done is, before I slid the box right up, because I'm going to have the box hard up against that the bar, the ladder rack bar, but there's about, I don't know, it's maybe 70 or 80 mil gap or something like that. In that gap I put two like 12 mil holes, just drain holes, to put on this side and on the other side, so if it fills up with water and stuff it should drain out pretty well. And if it starts getting clogged up with mud, then I know I can just put a stick or something up there and push the mud out pretty much. So that's something that I just decided to do. You don't have to do it if you're doing the same thing, but again, it's just what I wanted to do. So now the box is all where I want it, we're going to start securing this thing down. So I'm going to put 4 bolts in all the corners. I picked up some bolts and things today. So we've got just some high tensile M12, so I want some chunky ones, and then we're going to be using some what are they? They're a 50 by 50, just like a square washer spacer block. Got some spring washers to hold it all down. I'm also going to Loctite it anyway. Actually, no I won't, because I'm going to take it off to get it painted. So after I do that, I'll Loctite it anyway. And then I also got, somewhere in here, I got these. So they're fiber washers. Apparently they're pretty good for, where did I see that? Vibration and compression resistance. So hopefully that'll help with it a bit. But I'm going to get into drilling these holes out now so I can start securing the box. Plan on going full driving in a couple of days, so let's get this on and I can chuck some stuff in there and we'll test her out on the tracks. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so now the whole thing is completely bolted down. I've got my 4 bolts in the corners that you just seen, and it's pretty secure, so that should do it for that. But something I actually want to look at is the door locks. So I find when I actually close them, if I can close them, it was stuck. So I find when I do close them, so they're closed right now and they're locked, but it still moves around. So you can sort of see it there. Pretty much the locks are just a bit loose. The guy who had them before never really tightened them up properly, so we're going to have a look at that. I'm just going to see what I can do, figure out how do they actually work. I'm pretty sure it's just a couple of bolts behind these sort of T thingamabobbies. I don't know the correct name of them, but it's just sort of a bolt behind there. So basically I'll just tighten that up, maybe put some Loctite and stuff on it and see if that holds it. Apparently the guy who owned it before said he used to just do them up hand tight, but they would always just vibrate loose driving around and full driving and stuff. So that's kind of obvious that that will happen. That's why I'm going to chuck some Loctite or spring washer, or I'm not really sure yet, but we'll have a look. Okay, well that is a wrap. That's the whole box bolted on, tightened up a little bit. I can't get those locks 100% because it's actually wear and tear on the box. I'll show you that in a sec, but pretty much this is the final product. So as you can see, we've got our box on. I ended up putting the sides, the gate sides and the rear ladder rack back on. That is a personal preference, so a lot of people don't usually run them because you can't open the door without having to open the gate there on the side. So I prefer to run them just as added security. Someone has to get through the gate before they can get through the door. So again, personal preference. So let me give you a complete walkthrough of everything we've done. So as we all know, I had a longer tray on here previously. We've now dropped it down to an 1800 tray. We had to modify all the brackets underneath. So we used plastic shims to lift it up and also rubber to stop some vibration on all three. So we got it down there as well. We had to partially relocate the fuel nozzle because it was sticking out the side here and I needed to make it go out there. So you guys saw that before. Now that the tray was bolted on, it was time for the box. So I went and got the corners and things re-welded because of the fact that they were all cracking. So now they're a lot more sturdy and hopefully we don't have any more cracks come up the tops or even through them or anything like that. So fingers crossed we're all good. I have now bolted the tray down. So we've got some big washers in there. We've done it in all four corners over there. You can see, you can't really see that one, but you can see it down here. So we went with a big 50 by 50, what would you call it, a square washer basically, some high tensile bolts, a fiber washer actually, just to stop some vibrations and things. And then up underneath, we would just have a spring washer with another 50 by 50 and then the nut obviously. So that setup's just going to be temporary because I actually want to run the bolt up through the other way, and then what I'll do is I'll grind it off and also weld the nut to the bolt. That's just as added security so no one can just unscrew the box and take it. I've heard that done a couple of times, so I think that's what I'll end up doing. So I'm pretty stoked with it. We've got all the holes we needed to drill done. Like I said, we put a drain hole on either side just between the headboard and the front of the box. That's just if any water or dirt or anything gets in there, it can wash out. And to be honest, that's about it. So it's now all bolted on. We're gonna keep running it for a bit like this because I want to get some wheel arches down there. I think that's it maybe, and I just got to patch up a couple of holes. This is the wear and tear, so you can sort of see there's a bit of a divot in it. That's as it's been sliding over. It's just slowly worn it. So I've maxed the actual brackets out as far back as they can possibly go. And it still slides a little bit, so that's why I got rid of that. I got rid of a spring washer that was behind it just to make it a bit closer to here, but it still shakes a bit. So what I'm going to do is put like a plate over that, pop rivet it in or something, and then we'll just extend these back out, maybe put a spring washer back in it, and it should be good. So far so good. I'm pretty stoked with how it's all turned out. I think it looks awesome. That shorter tray is definitely I can use the tow ball properly now. And I think all I've got to really work out is the, what's it called, number plate light at the back. So they're just cable tied up at the moment. So once it's all painted and everything, I might actually fix up like an LED strip or something that reflects down onto it, gives it lots of light. And the brake lights is something else I've got to bolt on properly because they're just, they're pretty tight on there, but I've also just got a cable tie around it in case it, I lost the bolt or something. But yeah, so this is my current tray setup. I'm gonna actually have to put all that stuff that's in there into the canopy now. So I'm pretty happy with how it's all turned out. And basically that's it, guys. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully the next video we will be painting the canopy and everything. I want to get that done pretty soon. So I've actually already got the Raptor paint we're going to be painting it with, and yeah, it's gonna look sick. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of this canopy setup. It's going to be awesome when it's done. And make sure you like the video if you liked the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.